Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well and staying safe. Welcome to the OCBC and Vista virtual memorial service. On Memorial Day, you remember your loved one who left before you, appreciate them, and realizing the karmic condition that you had with those loved ones who share their lives with you in this world. Remembering each of your loved ones, first we chant the Jusege together. And then Reverend Turner will give you English Dharma message, and I will do a Japanese message. So join me chanting the Jusege. First, let's do a gassho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. 가보 조세간 이시무조도 시강후만족 세후조성악 가오무료고 후이다이세슈 후사이쇼빙그 세후조성악 가시조분도 묘쇼조지뽀 극교미쇼멈 세후조쇼악 리욕진쇼넨 조회슈봉교 시그무조도 이쇼텐닌시 진리키 엔다이코不詳無才道少女三苦名交際集約難回避知恵言滅死根毛案閉塞小悪道通断伝宗門高僧上満足異様老実法日月修十期天候恩不言一種解放道公正独法上王大集中説法四式供養一切仏具足習得本元年心上満得意三害用女分無下地通断未不詳願学営力投資最小損志願略効果大仙王感動航空商店人東内名家ナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブ願にしくどく平等性際道本菩提心往生安楽国 Namo Amida Butsu Namanda 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 Namanda Butsu Namanda Butsu Namanda Butsu Namanda Butsu.
Welcome. This is Reverend John Turner from the Orange County Buddhist Church, and I'd like to welcome you to our special service for Memorial Day. But before we begin, I'd like to start with Gasho. We could put our palms together. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda. So I'd like to share a story with you that happened to me concerning memorials and funerals in the Buddhist tradition. I was at a continuing education course with other ministers, and we were discussing the importance of Buddhist memorials and funerals and what they mean in America. And one minister mentioned that the American tradition of moving west across the country, the pioneers and covered wagons, there were many deaths along the journey, and there wasn't time to have formal funerals, and there was no time to grieve or mourn, and that people had to be quickly buried, and they had to quickly get back on the wagon train for the survival of the rest of the members of the wagon train. And this has kind of led to a kind of a shortened focus or ability to deal with death in our culture. And it's kind of interesting. One scholar said that Christianity continually moved from east to west, from Europe to the United States on the East Coast, and slowly moved west to California, Oregon, and Washington. And then Buddhism, you have the opposite trend. You have Buddhism starting in India, moving east through China, Korea, Japan, and then to the California coast. So these two traditions met in California, and there's a very interesting mixing of culture and tradition. I've noticed as a practicing Buddhist that Thanksgiving has become reinterpreted or generalized by Buddhists to be a day of gratitude, of realizing what we've received. Christmas even seems to become a day for selfless giving, the idea of compassion. And then Memorial Day, a day that was started after the Civil War to honor the dead, men and women who have died in battle. This Memorial Day has become generalized in the Buddhist tradition to be a time to memorialize all that have passed before us, and again to appreciate what they've given to us. But these two traditions are quite different. In Buddhism, we actually have regularly scheduled memorial services so that we continue to deal with death and to find meaning in it. So we have regularly scheduled memorials. We have the 49th day, we have the 1 year, we have the 3rd year, the 7th year, the 13th year, the 17th year, the 25th, the 33rd, the 50th, and even up to 100. So could you imagine having a memorial service for a relative that died 50 years ago? And I noticed this is different just from my own life experience. When my grandfather died when I was 10 years old, it was a very important event. We all left school. I remember being called out of school. We drove from Westchester to Fresno, and we had a very serious and important funeral for my grandfather. But I noticed that when it was over, it was kind of in our rearview mirror. We put it behind us. We had immediate closure, and we never really discussed it or talked about it much after that, because life is for the living and we have to move onwards. But in Buddhism, we continually revisit these events, and the funeral and maybe the first year memorial is very sad and solemn. But over time, these memorials move from one of sorrow to one of celebration, to one of joy. One minister even mentioned that the white candles, white is the symbol for death in Buddhism. When the Buddha died, white flowers rained down from the sky. So traditionally white, not black, is the traditional color for mourning or death in Buddhism. And we use white candles during memorial services. But one minister mentioned that on a 50th memorial, they bring out the red candles. And I had different theories about why we did this, but he said that red is traditionally a color of celebration. And it seems odd to have the color of celebration at a 50-year anniversary. But after you observe these scheduled memorials, you begin to look back at your relatives thankful, gratitude, joyful, and celebrating everything they meant to you in your life. And what an important part or cornerstone or legacy they left for you to carry on. So this is how Buddhists deal with death in a very healthy way. We move from sorrow to celebration through these ritualized, regular services to kind of force us to keep it in front of us and to deal with it and to not just move on quickly. So I couldn't remember what minister mentioned this, but he said that we have a tradition of this in our country because of this Western movement, this experience of death and dying suddenly on the trail. And so I went on the internet. I couldn't remember the minister who said it, and I can't remember the quote. So I went onto the Google machine and I started looking around, and it's very difficult to find. This isn't something we talk a lot about in the United States. But I found several hits on Western mortality, Western funerals, and not having time to mourn. So this is relatively recent. This is from Huffington Post. It's a blog by Michelle Steinke-Baumgard. It's titled Stifled Grief, How the West Has It Wrong. The reality is you will grieve in some capacity for the rest of your life. Once loss touches you, you are forever changed despite what society tells you. Stop looking at the expectations of an emotionally numb society as your threshold and measuring stick for success. And then she goes on to say, I'm here to say that the West has the concept of grieving all wrong. I'd like to point out that we are a culture of emotionally stunted individuals who are scared of our mortality and have mastered the concept of stuffing our pain. Western society has created a neat little grief box where we place the grieving and wait for them to emerge fixed and whole again. She says, it's become easier to hide our emotional depth than to reveal our vulnerability and risk harsh judgment. When asked if we are all right, it's simply easier to say yes and fake a smile than to be honest and show genuine human emotion. So Huffington Post tends to say things a little bit more strident and stronger than I might, but this was what I was looking for. This idea that we're not really dealing with death. We have a funeral, but we're so busy that we just move on and we want closure and we really want to be okay. But it takes time. And so I started to investigate the historical background of this quote from this minister. And the first thing I found was the Oregon Trail. This is the one where there was great mortality along the trail. This was during a cholera pandemic. We're in the middle of COVID. This was a cholera pandemic from 1832 to 1866 along the Oregon Trail. And they call this the trail graves. There's people buried with unknown graves all along this trail. It starts in Independence, Missouri, maybe the jumping off point, and it goes through Kansas, where my relatives are from, Nebraska, Wyoming, Idaho, and then it leafs out or fans out into Oregon, Washington, and California. So this was what I was looking for. This is what that minister was talking about. That's part of our American cultural heritage that has shaped the way we deal with death. And it was out of necessity. In the mid-19th century, illness and sudden death were much more a part of everyday life than they are today. So obviously this was written pre-COVID. Our knowledge of the causes of illness and methods of treatment have progressed enormously in the past 150 years. In fact, while we consider the death toll on the trails to have been exceptionally high, we often forget that the death toll in the towns and cities, and certainly along the frontier in the mid-1800s, was also much higher than that with which we are familiar today. And so this is that famous pandemic, the cholera pandemic. We're dealing now with COVID. No one knows how many people died on the immigrant trails. No one even knows where the unknown grave is located or how many immigrants attempted the crossing. It is generally assumed that between 300,000 and 500,000 people crossed the trails, and of those, nearly 10% perished. Considering these figures, if you were to space the graves evenly out across the trails, you would come to expect to find about 20 graves per mile, or some 10,000 to 12,000 in Wyoming alone. So this unknown grave is somewhere in Wyoming. So this is quite sad. This is numeric. This is statistical. We'll move into the emotional in a bit. This is another booklet I found on the internet, Your Travel Guide to America's Old West. Same sentiments, same dates, different, the facts may be a little bit different, but the same results. So this is the Oregon Trail. There's an Overland Trail. There's a lot of different trails moving from east to west. The Oregon Trail qualifies as America's longest cemetery. 1 in 20 immigrants, possibly more, died along the trail. If the graves of those who died were evenly spaced along the trail, there would be a grave every 50 yards from Missouri to Oregon country. So I had no idea about this historical heritage. I live on the West Coast. We all moved west, and this is kind of the price we paid for that journey, was to deal with death quickly along the trail. So Rita Markle, who wrote this guide, said, "When a death occurs on the trail, there is no time for long goodbyes. Sometimes immigrants dig a grave directly in the path of oncoming wagons. That way the wagons will pack down the ground as they pass over the site." So there's not even time for a proper grave. You have to keep moving. You have other family members that depend on you. And then I found this journal. It took a lot of searching, but it's called Legacy, a Journal of American Women Writers. So this is death and dying from the perspective of women. And it says that the men tended to look at death as a general concept, as an aggregate. But it was the mothers and the grandmothers and the sisters that dealt with it in a very personal way. But because there was no time for funeral rituals or memorial rituals, they ended up privately expressing their pain through diaries. And if you read the diaries very closely, you can get a sense of the impact it had on their lives. But this is not a communal ritual. It's a very, very private ritual. So this is another difference with Buddhism. Ours are communal. Large groups get together. We share in each other's pain. We recognize that death is part of life, that we're not a victim. It's not our fault, and it's a shared human experience. And so at Shotsuki Hoyo, when we meet monthly, I find it very cathartic to realize that, I'm not the only one that lost a relative in May, right? There's many, many people who've lost family members. I'm not unique. I'm not special. And I can share my pain with others. So this is a very important aspect of dealing with death and dying in a very healthy way. So they call this the Overland Trail. I looked it up. It looks a lot like the Oregon Trail to me. It says here, 19th century diaries and letters written by women bound for the West on the Overland Trail represent grief in an equally ritualized fashion. These writers repeatedly suppress and minimize grief over the deaths of husbands, children, and friends, in order to construct an image of Western women as tough, durable, and forever moving forward. So I thought this was very interesting. I kind of felt this way when I went to funerals before I started to practice Buddhism. We wanted to be seen as tough and durable and moving forward. That was kind of one of the themes of the funeral, was to move forward. And we never followed it up with memorials. However, this alternative but equally ritualized pattern of textual mourning becomes apparent only when we read the gaps and silences of these women's narratives. And then the last thing I'd like to share with you, this is a book by Andrea Fontana and Jennifer Reed Keene. It's called Death and Dying in America. It's very hard to find. And it's kind of an interesting cover of the book. There are people sitting, waiting in line, and every time a next person, it's their turn to go through the exit door. So, this is a common process. This is something that we need to deal with. And so their study was, how do we deal with death and dying in America? And it's really been framed by this pioneering experience of death and dying on the trail. And I wanted to mention, I tried to find the least graphic and gory quotes. It was very, very difficult moving west. So here's another example. The Grieving Process, page 167. Another powerful example of the conflicting roles facing women in mourning comes from American women's diaries during the Great Continental Migration between 1840 and 1870. The trip west was perilous, and births and deaths were daily events. Women's duties as caregivers to the sick and the dying made them acutely aware of the dangers of disease and accidents and the overall loss of human life. Whereas men recorded the death in aggregate numbers, the women knew death as personal catastrophe and noted the particulars of each gravesite, whether it was newly dug or old, whether of a young person or an adult, whether it had been disturbed by wolves or by Indians. The diaries from this time recount again and again the incidents of births and deaths. Losing a child while en route was an overwhelmingly common experience, and women wrote about having to bury a child at the side of the trail. Within the space of 3 days, Mrs. Henderson saw one child buried and another one born. There was no time to mourn and no time to grieve. The journey was relentless. In this rugged and treacherous atmosphere, stopping to give the dead a proper burial put the rest of the group in danger, which added stress made the trip all the more difficult. So there's another thing I just noticed in reading that quote, is that there's a kind of a divergence between how men dealt with death and women. Women dealt with it very privately, emotionally, with a lot of intimacy. And the men's kind of dealt with it separately, kind of as a general problem or a general issue. But so there's a divide between how men and women dealt with death and dying in America, but both reacted in a way because there wasn't time. And so I think what Buddhism has brought to America is you've got to make time. It's important to make time for these memorials. And I'm very impressed with how, again, Memorial Day has been generalized from focusing on the fallen military men and women to a generalized memorial, a generalized time to stop and reflect on all who have passed, and to do it in a healthy way, to embrace this in a way that is healing, that is cathartic. When you deal with this in an open and healthy way, we have a very natural and mature understanding of death and dying. And I hope through this process you can see how the candle goes from white to red. We start out with deep sorrow and loss, and over time it becomes one of celebration, of a happy event where we reflect on what we received and how important our friends and family who have gone before us helped construct our lives and helped make us who we are. And how can we help but be happy and thankful for that? So this is an aspect of Buddhist practice that I think is colliding with an aspect of Western migration history of the American West. And I think together it can really offer a new avenue for us to deal with pain and loss in our lives. And I think this is one of the great contributions that Buddhism could have to American culture. So I want to thank you very much for joining me. Next will be Reverend Dr. Mutsumi Wondra. She will give a talk, a Dharma talk in Japanese, Nihongo. But I would like to close with Gasho, remembering all that have passed, remembering my father, remembering my grandfather, with a smile on my face and happy to have known them. I still miss them, but I miss them because of how great they were. So please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much, Reverend John Turner.
Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. 皆様お元気でいらっしゃいますか？今日はお墓参りをいたしますメモリアルデーでございます。例年ですと私たち開教師が各墓地にですね、お墓参りに上がるんですけれども、今年はやはりまだコロナ感染が続いておりますので、そういうことで皆様の安全と健康を優先いたしまして、このように YouTube において、メモリアルサービス、メモリアル法要をお取り次ぎさせていただきます。皆さんもお墓参りに何度もお行きになったことがあるかと思います。日本の方のお墓参り、またアメリカの方のお墓参りということでですね、いろいろと墓地に行きますといろんな形の墓石がございますね、お墓がございますね。で、浄土真宗におけますお墓というのはですね、どのようなことが刻まれているかと言いますと、皆さんよくご存知の通りに阿弥陀様のお名前でありますナモ阿弥陀仏という六字名号が刻まれていることが多いのですね。そしてもう一つはクエ一緒という言葉、今スライドの方でですねお見せしておりますけれども、このクエ一緒という言葉がございます。これ4つの文字ですね。で、読み方はひらがなも書いてございますけれども、クエ一緒と言います。クっていうのはみんなと一緒にということです。で、エっていうのは会うという字ですよね。で、一緒っていうのはいわゆる一つのところで会うということです。いわゆる言いましたら共にですね、一つのところでまた会いましょうということがね、このクエ一緒という意味なんです。ねえ、これどういうことでしょうね。私たち、私も父も母もございましたおりまして、往生もしておりますけれどもね、やっぱり縁あってこの世で、父とあるいは母とあるいはいろんな先祖と会うことができたわけです。そして共にですねこの世で、毎日を生活して、喜びも悲しみも苦しみも一緒にずっと来たわけです。その中でいつもお仏壇開けて、そして、お正信行をお務めしたりですね、忠誠行をお務めしたりして南無阿弥陀仏と共に生かされてきたこの世であったわけです。これを親鸞様は私たちがよくいわゆるこの世の世界とおっしゃっております。しかし皆さんようご存知の通りに、それぞれ人間というのは一生ずっと生きていくことはできません。一旦生まれてきたからは必ず最後があるということです。ね、その最後を迎えるその後どのような世界が私に待っているかということですね。 どうでしょう。この最後の日が来て、その後どうなるかわからなかったら、心配でこの世を離れることができません。私は心配になりません。しかし浄土真宗はそのような心配を与えない宗教であるわけです。そこには永遠の世界、永遠の命がまた開けていく素晴らしい世界がそこに待っているわけですね。ですからたとえ私が最後の日を迎えようとも、必ず阿弥陀様はこの私を抱き取って、そして、私の最後と共にすぐにですね、私を仏として阿弥陀様の国である浄土の世界に迎え入れましょうというふうに、そう誓われてくださっているわけですね。それによって私はこの世界を終わるとともに、この肉の体がなくなるとともにですね、阿弥陀様の浄土の世界に迎えられていくことになるわけです。これは大変な喜びでございます。そこにちゃんとどのようになってどのような世界に、私は生まれることができるということがちゃんと説かれているわけです。そしてその世界の浄土に生まれていって、そしてその後ですね、私は大事な大事なお仕事が待っているわけです。浄土っていうのは極楽で、例えば極楽世界ですから、皆さんなんか温泉に使ったりしますとね、なんと極楽だなって言ってね、まあまあ本当にここにずっといたいねというふうに思われる。私もそう言います。温泉に使って極楽だわって言いますけれどもね、浄土の世界は、確かに極楽で、迷いもそして痛みも苦しみもないわけです。しかしそうかといってずっと私がその極楽の世界にずっといるわけではないわけですよ。私は直ちにこのシャバ世界に戻って、苦しんでらっしゃる方、そして、迷っている方をですね、この仏様の世界に導いていく、そういう仕事をしなければいけない。それがですね、親鸞様がおっしゃる幻想の世界、この世に戻っていく、そういう私の姿があるということです。私は仏にならしていただきましたけれども、しかしその幻想の菩薩としてこの世に戻ってきて、迷っている人、嘆き悲しんでいる人、また反対に喜んでいる人、共にですね、一緒にこの仏様の阿弥陀様の見教えに導いていく、そういう仕事をすることになるわけです。皆さんそうなんですよ。ですからどうかですね、このメモリアルサービスで、この私たちの前に先立たれた方々を思う、そして思って、思い忍ぶということですね。日本語はいいですね。この忍ぶというとても素晴らしい、もう情緒ある言葉があります。その亡き人、愛する人を忍びながら、そしてその方に感謝しながら、そしていつか私もその方と一緒にいられる世界に抱き取られていくというのは、これが浄土真宗の教えでございます。これが親鸞様が皆様にお伝えしたい見教えでございます。そのことを先ほど申しましたように、苦へ一緒の世界が私たちを待っているということです。ですから決してですね、お墓参りされまして、お墓の下にお父さんがいるんだ、お母さんがいるんだね、それは間違いないことです。しかしその地面の下というのは決して暗いところではありません。浄土真宗でいう死後の世界というのは、もう光り輝く、そして永遠の命が待っている、そういう世界に私たちは抱き取られていくわけです。そしてこのメモリアルサービス、このメモリアル法要によってですね、亡き人を偲んで、そして またこの法要によってですね、仏縁、仏様とのご縁に合わせていただくことを喜ぶということが、浄土真宗におけるこのメモリアル法要でございます。最後にですね、甲斐和子先生という方がおられますけれども、甲斐和子先生は足利和女のお嬢様でいらっしゃいました。この和子先生がですね、たくさんの和歌をお読みくださいましたけれども、その中で、一つご紹介いたしまして、この日本語の私の法話とさせていただきます。御仏を呼ぶ我が声は、御仏の我を呼びます声なりけり。御仏の皆を唱える我が声は、我が声ながら尊かりけり。と言われております。この私が御仏を呼ぶというのは、私が南無阿弥陀仏をお唱えするその声はですね、まさにそれは阿弥陀様が私を呼んでくださる声でありますと。そして御仏の皆を唱える、南無阿弥陀仏を唱える私のこの声は私の声でありますけれども、なんと尊いことであろうかということです。すなわち私が南無阿弥陀仏と阿弥陀様の声を呼ばせていただく、そのような身にならせていただいたということは、なんと尊い、なんと嬉しいことであろうかというふうに、この甲斐和子先生は書かれておるわけでございます。まさに本当に感動する、本当に心にしみ入る和歌であろうかと思います。どうか皆様、まだまだコロナ感染が続いておりますので、どうかお気をつけて毎日をお過ごしくださいますように、そしてお念仏、南無阿弥陀仏とともに毎日を心安らかに過ごされることを心より念じております。それではこれにて私の日本語法話とさせていただきます。合唱いたしましょう。南無阿弥陀仏、南無阿弥陀仏、南無阿弥陀仏、南無阿弥陀仏、南無阿弥陀仏、南無阿弥陀仏、南無阿弥陀仏。南無阿弥陀仏、南無阿弥陀仏、南無阿弥陀仏、南無阿弥陀仏。